How do I start it? Really? Well, I grew up going to Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri, and they had a thing called Fire in the Hole. And it was about the bald knobbers, which were a real group in the Ozark Mountains. When I was a kid, I couldn't get on the ride because it was too scary and I wasn't tall enough. And as soon as I got on the ride and I was tall enough, I screamed and cried the whole way through because it was terrifying. They had like socks on their heads as horns. Their wives would paint up these like pillowcases and they would hide their shoes, and it set me off on discovering like what this was, this true story. So that was the base of the idea, and of course it changed drastically.
Jordan had told me stories about the bald knobbers, and he had all these ideas for a Ghost of the Ozarks short.
2016, we were just like, hey, let's shoot this proof of concept.
I really desperately wanted to work, and I thought their stuff was always really great, and I tried to shimmy my way in. So I told Jordan, I said, I can ride a horse if you want a female character in your movie. And he called me the next day and said he did. I said, well, let me call Tommy. I'm sure he would like to be in it as well. So we flew to Arkansas like 6 weeks later to film the short.
We know we wanted to set a film in that universe. We just weren't sure what it was. And when Tommy and Tara came on, we knew exactly what we wanted to do with it. So that's when the story started really coming together. Sound speed?
Yep.
And action.
So, am I gonna die, Doc?
Well, you've stopped bleeding, so I'd say things are looking up.
We were just in Arkansas with like 5 or 6 people and lots of ticks.
Good boots.
I like to keep my feet in, bugs out.
Someone else knocked. Not even much like what answered.
The only way I can prove anything is just like with our skill, because I can't get $20,000 to make a proof of concept, so I got to make it for $300. And we made that short in 3 days. Everybody was just willing, and so we knew we had the right people.
We had talked about the mythology of it, and it evolved so much since the initial idea that I think it was clear there was more to mine from it.
I stayed in Arkansas 2 weeks after we shot the proof of concept, and everybody else left. I sat down, put a song on in my earphones, and like 4 hours later, I had all the beat board out for the film. There's certain voices that you have no idea about, and you have not lived an ounce of those people's lives. So I love talking to people and being like, what am I getting wrong? What do we do right? You know, from your perspective, how does this feel? I took it to Tommy and Tara because Matt was working on The Quiet Girl.
He would send me and Tommy the parts of the script that he had written, and we'd read them and I would give notes or just ideas like, oh, it could go this way, or like, what about this? And I kept giving notes, and eventually Jordan just said, would you like to try to write this with me? I don't know if that was because he thought I had good ideas or just it made me shut up, but I think it's the good ideas.
We just started writing, and we wrote it with Tommy in mind for the lead. We wrote it as Phil Morris' voice for Matthew from the beginning, because Tara had worked with him and he was just a glorious human and great at his job. So really, like in the beginning, we were already writing for 3 of our leads.
I was always very encouraging. I think I got him addicted to coffee. Well, actually, I know he started drinking coffee when we started writing together.
What are we about to see, Matt?
Jordan's gonna play the didgeridoo on a cardboard pipe.
But yeah, we're both very excitable and creative, and so I think we just worked really well together.
I pronounce you husband and wife.
You have another person to take it when you're tired, when you are frustrated. You have another like voice to step in.
And my life changed forever. I like writing with a group. I think there's just so many more ideas and different avenues, and if you think something's really great but it's kind of confusing, you'll have someone as a sounding board to be like, what about this?
Oh my God, all the concept art that I had made, absolutely zero of it is in the final film.
He was never too precious with anything, because he was like, if it doesn't work, you let me know, we'll take it out.
There was a cabin on top of a hill, and all these people were coming to the cabin. I think was part of it. There was a church at one point. I think that there was a sheriff in town, maybe. I could be totally wrong about all this. It's not at all anything what it is now, but.
We had a pit of just bodies and James getting thrown in there. I had already made how we were going to build it, where we were going to build it, and about October previous year before we shot it, we killed that. That was the last hanging on Jim, but no, I don't care. It's better. There's a lot of those things that you're like, I think this is a good idea, but when you have people around you that you really trust and they're like, this is better, you're like, that's way better.
Where's Tara at?
What are you doing in there?
We would have a table read, and Matt would come over and read it, and we'd be like, wow, this is really good, and like, what about this? And could it go this way? And it would just totally spark us a new idea.
We're going to the previous and most recent versions of the script to see what differences there are and to see if we have any problems that we need to address before we get to production.
A lot of it is scenes I've cut down, trimmed, rearranged the order that I think might help a little bit with the flow and the pacing. And as much as everyone's kind of aware of some of those broad changes, actually looking at them on the page is going to be really important, really helpful.
And then when Sean came in after Mrs. in 2020, and he took a look at it and was like, hey, what if this, and added a couple of things that just like totally tied the bow on it.
This is just the kinks we have to work out for any sort of script breakdown. So it's actually looking really good. It's really exciting.
I don't think it became clear that it was going to be the next thing until right after, or pretty soon after 12-Hour Shift was wrapped. And then it was like, let's do Ghost of the Ozarks. I was like, okay, sounds cool.